Hey guys, welcome to the 8.9 patch notes. I'm going to try to review this in 5 minutes or less, redoing it from earlier, trying to get it down from 17 minutes. So here we go. Big changes this patch to a bunch of mana champions, a lot of tweaks, trying to reduce the overall mana and wave clear in lane is kind of what they're targeting. The big change that will be most noticeable in the mid lane is Doran's Ring. It's going to give you mana regen over 5 seconds instead of on a minion kill. But what will be beneficial is giving the 5 on hit damage to minions. So this will allow casters who build Doran's Ring to last hit a little easier, which will be awesome for those low AD caster champions. Next big change, Hextech GLP. They're increasing the slow duration down to 2 seconds. This is a pretty big change because there's going to be limited dodge abilities that will get you out of this. The missile speed is going to travel 2,000 now, so a little bit faster than it was previously. Once you get hit by it, you're going to be slowed for ages, so Annie is going to catch up to you and kill you now. Twin Shadows is the next big one. They're increasing the ability power just a little bit, but where this comes into relevance and why it's a big change is since it now falls into the larger ability power items, you're going to see a lot of casters potentially start to build into this and give them additional team fight capabilities with that additional slow. So that'll be huge, especially in combination with the Hextech item. Next item, Spellbinder. I like the changes to this item. Champions that are able to build this and stack this are going to get more benefit from it. The base stats are being increased all around, as well as the movement speed on an activation will be increased up to 50%. Now the ability power increase on activations going down a little bit, but that's not a big deal because it's being moved over to the base ability power. So that'll be really nice for champions who want to build this. Magi's Soul Stealer is getting a buff. Instead of having to buy Dark Seal and then buy Magi's and get an additional 5 stacks, once you have your 10 stacks on Dark Seal, you'll immediately get the Magi Soul Stealer movement speed buff as soon as you buy it. So that's a huge buff and actually incentivize buying Magi Soul Stealer rather than kind of postponing it. Moving into the champion changes, Amumu's getting a bandage toss reduction. In his mana. That's really beneficial, allow him to cast it more frequently instead of just once in a team fight, trying to be conservative on his mana. The next two champions, Dr. Mundo and Garen, we're going to start to see a little bit more of them as they become a little stronger here. Garen's Q is going to get a lot stronger, be able to push you around a little easier in lane, so you've got to be more afraid of that bush now in the top lane. Ivern, they're lowering the skill floor on him a little bit, making his clear a little healthier, and giving the missile width on his Q a little bit larger hitbox. So this will allow him to hopefully gank a little easier as well as come out of the jungle a little healthier. So we might see him again. Kai'Sa, big change here. She's pretty much picked her band in every game. They're changing her missiles down to AoE. This is huge because normally when she builds Death Stance, single target ability, she would get a full heal from that. Now she's only going to get 33% of that from each of her now 10 missiles. So she won't be able to carry as hard late game. So that'll be really nice to go up against. Lux is getting some changes here. They're probably using her as a guinea pig to really find out how much wave clear they want a mid laner to really have. They're moving some of her power around to her Q and her prismatic barrier, giving a better shield, but reducing the radius on her E down to 310, which will actually allow you to dodge it. Now, if you're a little slow in your reaction time, but you'll still be able to move out of the way of that poke. So that'll be really nice. Poppy, we're going to start seeing a little bit more of her as she gets buffed. Her passive, getting additional range on throwing that shield. That'll be huge, so when she steps up to last hit, she won't be poked out as easily. Heroic Charge is also getting a range increase. That'll be really nice. Feels a little less clunky trying to be in melee range to tackle somebody, so you'll be able to cast it a little farther now. And lastly, on her, when you ult somebody immediately, the enemies used to be untargetable. Now you'll be able to target them during the knockup, so you'll be able to tackle them, do Q damage, whatever you want. That'll feel really good instead of waiting for that enemy to land and then take them on from there. Covering a couple of the bigger changes to the epic monsters, Baron Nashor, they're increasing his health by about 50%. It's going to take a really long time to do Baron now, but with this change, you won't need a tank on your team to really be able to take down Baron. The damage is now going to be divided among your team a little better, but since it takes a little longer to do it, it's going to allow for some counterplay, allowing the enemy team to really come in and try to fight you as you try to take down its 9,000 health. So a little longer to take down, a little less damage, but hopefully we'll see some good team fights take place around it. And the last thing to cover, the Rift Herald is going to become very important. It's going to be doing a lot of damage to your tower if you're letting it swing away at it. You need to make sure you're hitting that eye to deal 40% of its max health now. But if you're letting it charge and whack your tower, it's gonna go down really quick. It's gonna do 40% of your current HP or 1500, whichever's greater whenever it runs into a tower. So make sure you hit that eyeball. It's gonna be a glass cannon, but it's also gonna be a very important objective, even more so than it is now. So hope you enjoyed this version of 8.9 patch, and see you on the Rift.